Hugging it out with Casey.
Casey.
Okay, then.
Cool. It's recording. So we were just talking about like how shitty the education system is and how I got like a film degree and we're making slideshows for gender reveals and I'm making like did you see my emo video?
Yes.
I'm making shit like that.
It was interesting because like Jess was narrating it to me. And, like, and it was like subpar and it was like these shots of like this like really like low budget like stock photo dude and he's just like, oh, say more, and oh, you don't like me because I'm emo. Ooh.
Did you say ooh?
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, like I think about my education. So I went to school for geology, and I studied rocks, and nobody in that time. So I moved from IT. Well, I moved from history to IT and IT to geology, and nobody in that time told me to, hey, stop at IT because that's gonna get you a career.
Right.
And then don't look at rocks, maybe?
Yeah. What's the point?
Like, it just didn't make sense. And I mean, I love geology, and I think that people that actually get a career in it, perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, 100% perfectly fine. But at the end of the day, where's the money in it? It's like, not that everything's about money, but, it
has a lot to do with it. It's important.
I mean, money can't buy happiness, but it sure as hell helps a lot,
Yeah. This soda has already, in the 2 minutes it's been sitting there, warped the desk.
The soda?
My sody pop. I rarely drink soda, but Kelsey got me a Coke as reward for being a good boy. But speaking of like college education, I got communications because it's the only way I could get my film degree, and they were like really talking it up too. They're like, communications, you're gonna get so many job offers because it is so broad. I studied journalism. I studied news anchoring stuff. I studied public relations, marketing, design, film. I studied all this stuff. And I'm like, cool, I want to be a filmmaker. And I fell into entertainment reporting and I'm like getting more jobs. And they're like, all this shit, like you need 5 years of writing experience. You need to provide like 100 examples of your work. You need to work 40 plus hours a week. You got to do this. You got to make social media. You got to email marketing. Got to do all this stuff. $10 an hour, bachelor's degree required. I'm like, you're kidding. Must have a communications degree, bachelor degree required, $10 an hour. I'm like, this is insane. I actually got a job offer recently, and you still there?
Yeah. There's somebody vacuuming, so.
Oh, okay. I got worried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was stressful.
Yeah, it was very stressful. I'm like, oh no, the whole thing's ruined. But this job, it was like, I got pretty far into the process. We're talking and stuff like, all right, it's just like news writing, you can do some research and stuff like that. And then like one of the last emails, it was just like, this is an unpaid position. I hope that's okay.
What?
And I'm like, no, that's not okay. What are you talking about? Unpaid position?
So wait, what?
Bachelor's degree required, but sorry, we can't pay you right now. 40 hours a week.
So no other, like even if you wanted to do it, you can't work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you like an intern for like the financial sector right now? And like, you're just like looking to the gods of film and you're like, please rain your milk upon me.
See, that's another thing. Getting an internship for that was insane because like it took me I didn't graduate college on time 100% because I couldn't get an internship. I could not land one for the longest time. And so finally, I just like, after years, like, talked to my professor and I'm just like, so I know a lady who's making a movie. Can I just please PA on there for free? Sure. Oh, so I did that. And yeah,
There you go.
anyway.
But I mean, I don't know like a whole lot about like, because my internship immediately transitioned into work, and I feel like, but that was more due to like the fact that I had the idea when I started college that at the end of college I need to have a job, like, and I have to absolutely have that. So that's like what I made sure that I had nailed down, and it was in my last semester that I changed from geology to GIS. And so it's like I decided that in my last semester, and luckily all my time in IT and my time in geology kind of melded together to be perfect for the GIS degree, and somehow I just did it and I was able to graduate in my same time frame.
Nice.
But like my internship turned into a job, and I really feel like that's how we should be doing it. It should be more of like an apprenticeship process.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which is why, like, why doesn't anyone do that anymore? Like, I mean, plumbers do it and electricians do it, but like everything else is like, oh, you want to be a lawyer? Well, go get 8 years of school and sacrifice a child and lick a few light bulbs. And we're good.
Yeah, and and I feel especially bad for, lawyers and doctors. They like slave away for 8 years and they're just in debt their whole lives. It's like, no one wants to do that anymore.
Well, and you think about like doctors and stuff, it's like, you always, like as a kid, I think we had this like imaginary doctor, like salary, like every doctor makes over 100K. And then you realize, oh, that's actually not true. If you're a family practice doctor, you are getting royally shafted. Also, if you are part of like a bigger medical system, if you don't have like a private practice, right, you're getting majorly shafted. And then you have to lie because of like what drug pushers are telling you to do, because you're like, oh, I get kickbacks from this to not be so shafted.
Yeah, you get, what is it? I don't know. It's gotta push that Adderall on the kids or something.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh, here's some Pez, but it's actually Adderall, but it looks like Pez, and you'll like it.
The kid's mouth.
It's just like parents, like day one of Adderall, you have to be like, okay, you have to make them like you're Kobe, and you're gonna be shooting shots into your kid's mouth, and like you're just shooting threes, man, shooting.
They turn it into a fun activity. They just attach like a little hoop to your mouth, and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore.
The best part about the hoop is that it's clamped on your nose, and so you can't really breathe.
You can't go there. Net in your mouth.
And your sibling has to hold you up by the arms, and they're like, don't fall. Don't fall.
Don't move. Like, the thing is, though, like, I swear doctors take advantage of just, like, how desperate ADD moms are, ADHD moms, because, like, the way I just picture my mom just, raising me is, like, just... the mom from The Sixth Sense, how she's just kind of had it. That's just how I picture my mom, because like I had like, instead of like talking to ghosts or whatever, I'm just like, I just have ADHD, and I'm just like annoying, and she's just like, just sure, give him Adderall, whatever.
Whatever you can to make him shut up.
Just get him to stop. What is he doing? What is
he?
he?
The crazy thing about that is like I didn't find out I was ADD until I was an adult. And so it's like as soon as I found out, I was like, now it makes sense why I was so bad at certain things. Like coordination, don't have it. Like losing in basketball to my 8th grade teacher in English in front of the whole school. You remember that?
I do.
It was horrifying. but now I have something to blame. It wasn't me. It was my lack of coordination because my brain doesn't work.
Mental illness is like, it's so crazy to me because like the more we learn about it, the more we just simultaneously kind of just adapt to that knowledge and kind of learn about ourselves, because it's just like it almost seems to me that like at a certain point we're just gonna have like like a disease, and there's like, you have all these symptoms, ADD, you have depression, you have all these things. It's like there's just something in your brain, and all these things are happening now, because I swear all these things are like related. It's like, and they're all just like chemical imbalances. So it's just like your chemicals are weird. That's the disease. Sorry. Take a lot of pills and go to therapy. Sorry.
And no parent will do a good job, and sorry.
Yeah.
But like with that, it's like I feel like the more that we learn and as we progress, at least in America as a society, it's like the more we progress towards like full understanding of the human psyche and this mind meld called like this melting pot of human nature, the less that the opposite side of the spectrum, the people that aren't learning it, it's like we're stealing their brains a little bit. It's like this weird thing where these people are like, oh, yeah, the other side, me, are like learning stuff, so I'm going to unlearn things. Yeah, like I'm going to unlearn how to be civil in conversation and how to make logical concessions, and I'm going to unlearn how to like not be racist. And
yeah, that's see, and my whole thing about that is like, I feel like that stuff is like pre-existing. I feel like people were quiet. You know what I mean? Right. I feel like a lot of things that happened gave them permission to be like, yeah, exactly. That's what I've been thinking. Yeah. It's like, and they start just like having this dialogue out loud.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, that's true colors. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, like what we do here, like what we're doing and what we're talking about, you have to assume on the opposite end of the spectrum, there are people that are like-minded that are having similar conversations, at least with our idea, and then they're having completely different outcomes of those conversations. It's like being in like an alternate universe, and it's hard for me to get into that mindset, like to say, oh, I believe this, but is my opposition to the other side of this because I'm afraid of like me being wrong, or is it because that actually is wrong? Mm-hmm. Is it my fear of being wrong that makes me not want to be like, oh, like eugenics is a thing, you know?
Yeah.
Not saying like it obviously isn't a thing. That was just a gross example, but.
And what's interesting about that is if you like, it definitely seems like there are just two different like worlds, you know, just like on the opposite side of the spectrum. It looks like that person is just like, their belief system is like so strange. It's like they have to be dumb, they have to be crazy, they have to be all these things. It's just like there's no way someone can think that way. I actually, it's crazy because like if you actually just like, it seems like the only conversations people have with the opposite side of the spectrum are, you're wrong because this, you're wrong because this, your worldview is wrong because you grew up like that and it's just wrong. You're wrong. And racism is objectively wrong. Right. It's objectively wrong.
It's like, obviously wrong. Come on.
It's definitely wrong. That's not even a political opinion. You're just weird.
Morally, you are bankrupt.
Morally, you are dead.
You screwed the pooch kid.
But I actually, you know, my family, they're Trump supporters. I can still have a conversation with my brothers, and we can meet in the middle on a lot of things. We actually agree about a lot of things. That's just the thing, though. It's just so easy to just like focus on the big things that just are currently happening.
Yeah.
If you just like, you know, it's just harder and harder to meet in the middle, and everyone looks crazy, basically.
Well, yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like you could sit there and fight all day long on Facebook or talking to anybody on the street, or like, you know, you can have that argument in the Wendy's if you want. Nobody wants to see it, and you're taking a stand on something that you have, honestly, me and you don't have a whole lot of power. But collectively, if we could all get our stuff together and agree, yeah, collectively we totally have power. But Becky at the Walmart arguing with Susan who's wearing a mask, it's not really gonna, you know, you're choosing the hill to die on that's not even close to the mountain that we need to be at.
It literally a hill to die on.
You're just like, come on, guys. Yeah. Like, stop arguing. I was at Walmart the other day, and there was a guy at the door, and he was like, and he was talking to a Walmart employee. He was like, oh, I'm going to go in. And the Walmart employee was like, no, sir, you can't come in without a mask. I'm going to have to ask you to wear a mask. And he was like, well, like, you know, you're Walmart. I can talk to you, and you can let me in. And he's like, no, sir, I am not Walmart.
Steve. I am Steve.
I am Kyle, and he's like, I am not building big, you know, and Walmart, this Walmart, he says, yeah, it's just like, he's like, you have to wear a mask, and the guy's like, but why though? And he's just like, literally hundreds of people past this guy, everyone's going by wearing masks, and he's like, why do I have to wear a mask? I'm like, dude, you just have to. Come on. It's like wearing a shirt at this point. Yeah. You don't go out of your house unless you're absolutely chiseled. And even then it's kind of douchey to just wear nothing but like shorts. Come on.
And it's like, bro, why do you wear shoes, man? Why do you wear shoes? To protect your feet.
Right.
Also, no one will smell that.
Wear face shoes.
Wear face shoes.
Right. Yeah. But it's just like stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, it makes me mad. But at this point in the whole argument of things, the only times that I honestly will take a stand against anybody is to like actually just like point out logical flaws in what they're saying. It's like that whole canon kid, which is terrible. But like it, you know, it's something that like, you know, I can't get in the mindset of what the parent went through with that. It's horrible that the kid got shot in the head, but justice was delivered pretty swiftly.
Yeah.
Comparatively to Derek Chauvin and George Floyd, where it was just like, you know, it took them whole days to arrest Derek Chauvin. And then after that, the other officers that were complicit in it took them weeks to go apprehend them, and they knew where they lived. Them be their bros.
And people have stopped talking about Breonna Taylor.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, that wasn't even a blip on the radar. Or Ahmaud Arbery, who just like literally got gunned down in the middle of the street. Nobody said a thing, and you're just like, oh, this is America now, so.
And here's the thing. People who are posting about Cannon on Facebook, first of all, it's horribly like sad, and I'm glad he is getting the attention he and his family deserve.
Absolutely.
It's all over the front page news, which it should be. And the person who did that is obviously deranged and just disgusting. And, you know, a child, like anybody dying, that's very, very sad, especially a child.
Right.
So I'm very happy that you know, justice is being served. I can't imagine what the parents are going through. It's just like it puts a pit in my stomach.
Right.
I'd also like to point out though that Trump supporters were minimizing the death of a black man before any cop or white boy was even hurt at all.
Right.
You know, and
calling
him a drug addict and stuff like that, it's like an excuse to just avoid the conversation of white supremacy. I feel like it makes people uncomfortable.
It's just like, it's an excuse to say that this is the reason why he deserved to die.
Yeah.
And they don't explicitly say that, but the implication, the implicit thing that's there, hence implicit bias, guys, if you're watching, the implied thing there is that, oh, because he was a drug addict, because he had a criminal past, because of this, because of that, he deserved to die.
Yeah. And
that's just not how the justice system is supposed to work in this country. And, it's sad that for him to get what quote unquote justice would be in that situation, a city had to burn down. Like, terrible.
and
But
even,
like it made you see it.
right, yeah, it made it visible, and that's what it took. A little white boy. Again, I don't want to minimize the death of a child. It is very sad. It has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that the gunman was black, and people were so excited. Like, Trump's was fucking just like, oh, they jumped at the opportunity. I haven't seen one post about this dude that wasn't about like
And being black.
George Floyd thing, and it was just like they said, I don't even know what it is. Like,
It minimizes
death of
that
anyone
child's death.
tragic as like, as tragic as hell. But it just seems like they only care about murder when a black person does it. They don't care about,
Or if it doesn't
care
involve the
about
police.
child sex trafficking, when it doesn't involve ICE or immigrant children. They don't care about COVID until their family gets sick. And it's just so far detached from just the entire point, and they don't understand. They refuse to understand. And it's like it's like, and what gets me the most about it is like they're using a child's death as a political prop for something that shouldn't even be political in the first
It
place.
should be horrible. It's just horrible, and it's gut wrenching, and you just want to be like there to help the family. And why can't we do that as a culture and as America? Is just be there for the family and not use their child's death as a reason to rally the troops under the white banner.
Right.
Rally. It's just like, come on, like, dude, like, yeah, he was a white kid, but he was just a kid. He was a 5-year-old.
Yeah, and as a soon to be, I mean, I don't have to be a parent or anything like that to give a shit, but just the idea of like, if something were to happen to my child and then Facebook uses them to just go anti-BLM, I would lose it. I would lose my shit. Like, you are out of your minds. And that's what I mean. People don't give a shit unless it makes what they've been saying, whatever agenda it is, make sense.
Yeah, it's just kind of bonkers. And, I just don't know, like, it's like, the only thing I can equate it to is like it's like that meme with the dog and everything's on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And the dog's just like, this is fine. That's what I equate it to, is that like the mindset of like, oh, like everything around me is burning down, but me personally, I'm fine. And so like, as long as white people are fine, and as long as I can push this narrative of like white people being like better, or like these saviors, or like the black community isn't burning down or whatever, everything's fine. But like at the end of the day, it's really not. It's not fine.
No.
We cannot cross this bridge of reality, my dude. This is not Terabithia. We got to back up. We got to figure this out. And you're just like, Becky, just wear a mask.
Just do
like,
it. Yeah.
Just do it. We don't care about like your posts on Facebook. Just do it. Just freaking, like, if we would have just had 2 weeks of quarantine, come on.
I know.
Come on.
Like, this is gonna sound like it's gonna sound dumb. It's gonna sound dumb. And just like, who gives a shit?
But at this point in America, everything sounds dumb, apparently.
But all these movies that were supposed to come out that I wanted to see, they're not coming out anymore.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
mad about that. And it's all these people's fault, and they're just like, well, COVID's a hoax. What can you say? It's like, I'm missing my shows. I'm missing my stories. Please put on a mask.
Bill Gates is not trying to put computer chips into you. I promise.
I saw some.
What?
I think it was Patrick that said it, but someone messaged him. I don't know. Someone said something about like how COVID is a conspiracy to microchip you, and it was like sent from iPhone. It's like, bro, they don't need to microchip you. You carry it around in your pocket.
Do you know how much information this thing gives you? Like, to that? NSA. Well, I mean, Apple, in all fairness, is pretty locked down and mostly
very
secure.
Good. They're very good, yeah.
But like when you think about like Google and how much data that they just scrape, they're just scraping the gunk that you search.
Honestly, I don't even give a shit anymore.
It's just like
that's the thing. Like even before the internet, they were doing it.
well,
like,
yeah.
What the hell were you? They're bugging homes and they're tapping your phone lines and stuff.
There's the equivalent. I think I looked it up a while ago, but there's like 6 billion searches on Google a day, and like not to misquote it. Let's look. Five 5.6. So that if you Google it, you'll figure out that like there is a lot of people looking up a lot of slime.
A lot of slime.
Just slime.
The NSA knows too much about me. They're like, what do you think of this kid? I say we leave him alone. He's harmless, but the hell is this?
Don't look at his file.
He's literally just Googling slime. He's just Googling slime all day and just looking at slime.
Dude, their minds must have broken when like that ASMR stuff started popping off and people are just like actually making slime. And they're like, oh gosh,
There's
real slime.
one CIA agent that survived MK Ultra, and he's just in there listening to ASMR.
Yeah, some kid just like chewing on like styrofoam or whatever the heck they did. Just like, and he's just like.
It just activates his brain powers. All the computers explode.
In his head implodes.
Scanners, like that movie Scanners. His head explodes. Oh, man.
Oh, man. But like, it really is just like, the government is stealing all this information and there's no reason for them to try and track you. Dude, you have a social security number. Come on.
They gave you a number at birth.
Like, you're trackable.
Right. See, like that's tied to the bank. Banks are tied to your credit cards. Every time you purchase something, it's like, oh,
we know who's doing it.
Saw that. We saw
Hence why identity theft has been a thing.
Yeah.
They're stealing you.
Yeah. Such a weird concept.
Well, and it's just like, at the end of the day, these people that are not going to get these vaccines are going to like mess up the herd immunity. And I'm like, dude, please don't mess up herd immunity. Like, don't do that because you want to be Splinter Cell. You're not Splinter Cell. This isn't Tom Clancy. Please, just if you want to climb up a wall, just climb up a wall. Just at least get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Stop anti-vaccine. Vaccines are good things.
Right. It's I don't even know where that shit started, but people are like, they heard there's like a virus inside the vaccine. What? And then like it
hurts you?
Yeah, exactly. Like they give you the virus, I'll rather take my chances. Like the core of the argument doesn't even make sense.
Dude, it's been like that since like the 1500s. The Ottomans would inoculate people with little doses of smallpox to give them a less severe case of smallpox. And a lady from England took that from the Ottoman Empire, modern day Turkey, and took it to England, and everyone was like, you want to give me smallpox?
We actually learned that. The Great, you ever see that show, The Great?
Yeah.
Really good. And that's what she did. I think it was smallpox, yeah.
Yeah.
What'd she do? Like inject some goop and some
so because when it's smallpox, I think there's like little pustules on it, and it's if you've had chicken pox, it's just very more severe. Case of that is like, and I'm not a doctor, but little volcanoes, pus volcanoes on you, and they just go like scrape, put in a syringe, inject Casey with some smallpox,
mix it in, baby, you got yourself a stew going.
Yeah, I mean, like, you get some Vaseline, put it on your lips, and you get some glossy smallpox lips.
Gross.
And that's my beauty tutorial for the day.
Speaking of Vaseline, my hands are fucked.
Oh no!
I have like what is it called? Eczema.
Oh.
All over my hands. I've had it for a full year now. I think we talked about it last time you were even here, but like desperate measures. At night, we just lather my hands up with Vaseline. I put rubber gloves on and I just sleep with them like this. I've done that the last few nights, and it's kind of helping, but
I mean,
it's coming back a little bit. It's
do
so
you,
crazy.
do you duct tape it?
The gloves?
Yeah,
No.
do you duct tape them on? I get that with my feet, and my feet are like crumbly, and they look like an old painting, and not in a good way.
Yeah, you have nasty feet, man.
Yeah, I mean, for real. But like, what we do is like we'll get like a bunch of like lube the toes, get a sock on that, and make sure that there's no way for any of that moisture to escape, and it has to just go into your skin.
Right.
But like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like if you want scaly hands, you want scaly hands.
Right. Well, speaking of COVID, what have you been up to this whole time?
Well, I'm being over in like Utah. It's like it's not been as bad.
Really?
Here in St. George, it's like nothing has really changed. I mean, speaking from my limited scope, I don't really do a whole lot. But like from my limited interaction with the outside world, people are just a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah.
But like everything's still open. Nothing really closed down. I didn't have a hard time ever getting sushi or food or any of that. And it's like, if this was the worldview and like everyone else was experiencing this, it would have been like almost nothing happened, just a few inconveniences. But like Jess's sister had friends come out and stay with us, and it was like they came out and they were like, nothing's changed. And they came out from LA, where LA was like
lockdown. Well,
absolutely
they
lockdown.
go back and forth a lot.
It's weird.
The mayor's weird. He's doing all kinds of things.
I mean, it's just like they came out and they're like, it's freeing. We can walk around. We can go out. And like, I'm like, well, we could all do this if everyone was just an introvert like me.
Yeah. What about like you just like day to day? Do you work from home?
No, I'm actually at the office now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But like, I don't work from home. We do have the option. There are people in the company that do it. Like my coworker that's immunocompromised. She comes in like every other day, but most of the time she's at home. And she spent like the last 5 months at home. And then like I have friends that are like, were at home for a long time because they couldn't keep that social distancing thing. Like everyone has to be 6 feet apart. So up in our office up north, they had to do that because it was so jam-packed with people. They were like, okay, we have to have like basically A-B days.
Mm-hmm.
And people just alternate in.
That's what Kelsey does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you guys? Like, how's it been with you? Like with the job hunt, with like everything?
Work is picking up for me. Getting more content rolling in with the Screen Rant, so I'm able to do more stuff with them. Mm-hmm. Getting a few other interviews here and there, so it's starting to pick up a little bit.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been nice though. I've been getting a lot more free time.
Yeah.
Over coronavirus day.
I mean, is that good?
Yeah. I mean, okay.
How much writing have you done?
2 screenplays.
Oh, good job.
2 feature-length screenplays. And
that's really good.
Thank you. Yeah. 2. I mean, you read one of them.
Yeah.
Other one is just fucking weird, man.
I like it.
The weirdest thing I've ever written in my life.
I'll vibe with that. I vibe it. Send it to me. Send
okay. The first draft is done, I should say. So it's not completely finished.
Okay. So it's like 100% spelling errors.
It's pretty bad. In terms of spelling errors, I don't know. I think it's I read it to Kelsey. I think I corrected everything, but like a lot's already changed bro, and this is such a weird thing because it's like you got the quarantine, you got Kelsey getting pregnant, and just all these like intense feelings just kind of like created this. I'm just like, I'm just like super deep dive into like this weird territory that is just. I want to let me. I can edit this part out of the podcast. I don't want anyone stealing my idea. But let me just tell you a little bit about what it's about and just show you how weird it is.
That sounds really bad, and like if anyone heard that, that would be like really bad. But
I know. I would never pitch that idea. I'd have to show them a finished product before I'm
absolutely
like, just trust me.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, it's been super productive on this end, but simultaneously like the weirdest time to be alive. And I was thinking about something like it's actually pretty common. I know a few people, I can't name names, I guess they haven't announced it. I know a few people who are pregnant, and it's just a whole new generation of kids born in because of quarantine.
Yeah.
It's just a whole, it's like baby boomers, but
yeah,
they're quarantinies. They're the quarantinies. I don't know. So they're new generation of
quarantines.
Quarantines.
Yeah, the quarantines.
It ain't that easy. Quarantines, and I just made it.
You had it. You were close. Quarantines.
I think quarantinis is a drink.
Yeah, quarantinis or like quarantini boppers or like whatever the heck. But it's like, you know, and I mean that makes sense. Like, you know, that's how generations are really divided up by like giant socioeconomic events, and then people like say, oh, from this event to this event, you know, like financial crisis to financial crisis, that's where we're at. Like millennials was like the early 80s, like 82, around the time the oil crisis happened and all that, to like 95. So it's like, oh, Clinton, just get us to Clinton and then we'll divide it.
See, and that's the thing. We're the Bush and Clinton generation. So
we got double bushed.
It's easy to see that. Yeah, we got Bush twice.
Double bushed.
So it's easy to see like why we're just kind of like so apathetic about politics. Like, here's the thing, and this is no joke. Bill Clinton is the first president I remember, right?
Yeah.
The first time I saw him on the news is the Monica Lewinsky scandal. Mm-hmm. So I learned what the president of the United States is the same time I learned what a blowjob is. And that just set the bar for expectations for presidents. So when...
It's a pretty high bar. Looking back, retrospect, that's a really high bar. It's like, now if that's all Trump was doing, I'd actually be on board with it. I'd be like, do whatever you want in the Oval Office, just keep us alive.
That's what's so shocking is like, he's also done that, but so much worse, and then some. Clinton, that's a conversation for another day. Who knows what?
It's a lot to unpack for sure.
But right now,
it's a lot. It's a lot. It's just like, you know, you think about it, and it's like, for some reason, okay, thinking about like Bill and Hillary, you know, their whole like dynamic is one, like, don't get it. I also like, I understand that you guys are like the king and queen of power couples, but it's like, you know, what on earth makes you think that because your husband was the president, you know, you should be able to piggyback off of that? Because like, would you want like this almost dynastic like family thing, like the Roosevelts and like how that happened? Would you want that with the Clintons?
The Kennedys, yeah.
Yeah, like it's like, would you want that at all?
Right. I know. And
and then all the shady shit, like stuff that was going on in the background is like, you know.
Oh my God! It's not just like Okay,
flights on Epstein Island or whatever it is. Or,
well, yeah, we'll get to that in a second because I want to talk about that's a whole other can of worms. How much time you got? But I for a while there was all this talk, like the Clintons. Do they hire hitmen?
it sure seems like it.
Like that's like a thing. Like,
dude, did you see like with that judge that was supposed to be like on like Giselle Maxwell's like thing or whatever? Like the judge's family had somebody come up and like shoot and kill her husband. No, kill her son, not her husband. And then like he bounced and he was found later dead. The dude was disguised as a FedEx employee, all that stuff. I'm like, dude, that's like, I don't know a lot about hitmen, but what I do know is you dress up as a FedEx guy and you ice someone that way.
yeah. That there is something happened there. Like there's no, something happened. Like there's no other way. People aren't just gonna be like, well, that's weird. Like
what a coincidence.
Yeah, it's just like I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure no, there's nothing.
Absolutely.
It's a random act of violence. That's all.
Just
like no,
boys being boys.
just boys being boys. Oh,
just boys being boys. Ah,
like
it's like Paul Rudd being like, "Oh, who knew? Not me."
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I guess.
Man.
Well, I mean that's the thing. I guess that kind of goes into what I'm saying. Actually, the current administration, previous administration, the whole elite, this whole idea of the elite, they are so corrupt. They can be corrupt in front of us and know we can't do anything about it. As long as they don't say it out loud, they can be like really obvious about this shit, like hiring hitmen. We're seeing it happen on TV. They're like, huh? Oh, I don't know. Anyway.
Here's my thought on that. It's like, these people being in power and they're like constantly struggling to be kept in power. I mean, that's the crux of fascism right there.
Yeah.
That's fascist regime handing off to another fascist regime. It's just like, it's going to be a power struggle entirely. But like at this point, it has become so grossly obvious that like, that's what it is, that like, you just have like these two legitimate clown men as like running for president. It's like, the amount of sniffing pictures Biden sniffing people I've seen. I'm like, dude, how do we have so many Biden sniffs?
Well, and that perfectly goes into what I'm about to say, perfectly wrapped up into this whole package. Why are they all creepy? Why are they all weird? Like, what happened? What, like, that's the, holy shit. So the Clintons, they're found on the flight logs, Trump, flight logs. Biden, not flight logs, but we can see him doing shit.
Right.
We see you, Joe. We see you. We see what you're doing.
We know you swim. We know you. We know you've been swimming, my dude.
Yeah. It's like,
Come on. You're wrinkly. Come on.
Also, he's a dick.
Right?
Biden is a dick. Like, here's the thing about like the difference between voting for Trump and voting for Biden. People who vote for Trump can be like throwing Clintons and Biden like under the bus, like, oh, they're creepy. But Trump, there's no way. There's no way those 20 plus sexual harassment, sexual assault accusations over the course of 30 years are accurate. I just don't believe it. Clinton, Biden, oh yeah. Those are
absolutely no evidence to like back up your claim, but like, I got a gut feeling. In fact,
I would say I'm willing to meet in the middle and say there is just as much evidence that say Trump and the Clintons are equally involved, and I think that's fair to say. But the difference between like Democrats can at least admit that, I have my issues with Democrats, but like at the end of the day, at least we can just say, yeah, this shit's,
That's weird.
well, yeah, our guys aren't all good.
No, it's,
They're
you
not
know,
good.
at the end of the day, it's like, I mean, I hate to say it, but it really is like we always have to choose between the lesser of two evils, because as much as you want to be on the right side, it's like, dude, no matter what, it's the same dude, different suit. It really is.
It really is. And I've been saying Biden and Kamala Harris are glorified Republicans.
Right.
He announced VP. I'm like, oh, of course he would, as everyone's saying, of course he would go for the cop.
Right. Like, it's just like,
he's a Republican. Like, yeah, it's like you said, it's the same dude.
yeah, same dude, different suit. And it's just like, you know, I just can't, like, it's hard for me to get behind anybody anymore on these things, but it's so funny. It's so funny looking at like the blatant, like, oh, you can't vote by mail. For instance, let's bring voting by mail up. So you're not allowed to vote by mail, Casey. You cannot be trusted, and people at the post office cannot be trusted with your vote. But if I am the president, I can say I want to vote by mail, and I can trust everyone at my post office because I'm president.
And
I do what I want. Yeah, it's like,
to do that.
Come on.
They're gonna vote. We know. Like, that's what I mean. It's so transparently corrupt that they can just like, yeah.
He straight up said it.
Oh, he did.
Just the fact that he straight up said, like, yeah, it's like giving money to my opponent. Why would I do that? And you're just like,
It is illegal. That is illegal to do.
Excuse me, sir. Have you ever taken a 9th grade government class?
He hasn't. It shows.
I mean, borderline, I feel like he can't read sometimes. It's just like the bumbling oaf.
I heard this from, I don't remember who it was. I guess you can take this with a grain of salt because I don't know who it was that said it. Apparently someone on the inside of the Trump administration straight up said, no, he kind of can't read. Again, take that with a grain of salt. I heard that before, but it was so long ago, I don't even, there's so much shit that goes on. I just forget shit. Are you looking for it?
Yeah, I'm going to look for it.
Okay.
This is a spicy one. This is spicy.
It's a good one, yeah.
Can Trump read?
Can Trump read? Snopes.com. No, he cannot. It's true, he can't.
Oh, well, there's an article from May 21st.
Oh, speaking of Snopes, there's also something I want to I guess I can screen share.
Yeah, you screen share that stuff.
What happened? Did I delete it?
I really hope not. Yeah, the title of the article is Trump's Lethal Aversion to Reading.
It's kind of sad, but
I mean, is it though?
Not sad at all.
It's just like, homeboy's a billionaire. Like, I mean, if I was a billionaire, I wouldn't read. Well, actually, I probably would. I would have a very big library. But
Right, yeah. I would get the best education, right?
I mean, I'd be a smart man. Big boy, smart pants.
Big boy brain. Yeah, I've actually heard it from different places that they've had to like read stuff out to him, and he gets really defensive about it. He's like, "Of course I can read," you know.
Well, yeah, because you're a grown man.
Right.
You went to some of the best schools in the world. You should know how to read.
Right.
Come on. Of course I can. Well, sir, no one in this room, including your wife and child, we haven't seen you read.
Like, of course I can read. No one asked you. That wasn't the question.
Sir, you've been asleep in your Cheerios.
Wake up. Is that text backwards on your end?
No, it's right. It's right.
Well, I guess you can't even fucking read it anyway. It's all covered up.
Endorsed Casey Head.
Hold on. Let me pull
You
something.
you could just walk out of the shot.
Well, there's like text at the top and bottom. They're both just cut out of frame.
Oh no, I could like. Is there text above it?
Yeah.
Is there something before endorsed?
Yeah.
Oh. Well.
Turn on accessibility. My glasses broke. I'm like, check it.
Come on, my dude.
Smudgy doesn't help.
How did they break?
Fucking stepped on them.
Why were they on the floor? Dude, Jess always tells me in your face, not in your face, on your face or in a case. Not in your face.
Well, I'm like the clumsiest person I've ever met. If there's one thing I can change about myself. Oh, I can send it to you.
Okay.
Maybe. Yep. Give it a minute.
I like how there's a little like juxtaposition in what we're wearing. It's like I'm wearing a blue hat, you're wearing a red hat.
Mm-hmm.
We did not coordinate this.
No.
Did you send it? Oh, there you go. Download.
Can we just like first talk about like how we totally abandoned the original idea of this podcast in the first 5 minutes of the first episode?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like we're supposed to be characters. Like I was supposed to be like a Trump supporter, like like a diehard like.
I mean, I had myself, so you know.
That's the thing. I couldn't even like fake it. I'm just like, oh yeah, well.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree wholeheartedly with you.
I can't even improvise this shit. Yeah, let's just talk about it. Like, I'm too mad to not talk about it. Like, share my feelings. That's the thing.
Okay.
I want this podcast to be like so funny, but like I'm mad all the time talking about this shit. Is it open?
Well, I mean, I think we're doing a pretty good job on this one.
Yeah, so I don't give a shit anymore.
Right.
We're doing this over Zoom, right? Like,
right.
Doesn't have to be perfect.
What was the name of that screenshot? 2020.
Yeah.
Okay. I am going to see if I can share the screen on this one. Okay. And then share my screen. We want to share screen to share it. Do you see what I'm seeing?
Ben Sir, yes. And I'll block out the name when we're editing.
Yeah. Let's like not get some hate.
Yeah. But I love this. I've seen this shared on Facebook just by so many people over the last few days. And once Trump's gone and we have regained our rightful place in the White House, look out if you supported him and endorsed his actions because we'll be coming for you next. And it's like, yes, she really said this. If you Google that, the very first thing that pops up is Snopes. No, she absolutely did not say this. There's no evidence of her ever. She never said that.
She's not Palpatine.
It's so funny to me that it says, yes, she really said this. That's actually like, I was swinging past this. I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't really like her that much. I saw that. And I'm like, I'm not so sure anymore. So I Googled it. I'm like, she didn't. She didn't say that.
You know what I love about like when you read something stupid, just like so blatantly stupid? Every person I've met goes like this. Like a dog that just heard like a really bad whistle. Like you're just like, you have to tilt your head to try and comprehend this stupidity.
Yeah.
And if you're doing that, you know that you're on the Trump side of the internet.
Yeah. And
like the tubes have gotten weird.
Bro, I hate to admit it because like I hate this about myself. I hate that I engage I hate that I engage with people online if they post something stupid, depending on who it is. If it's my family, I'm just like, thanks, we have to eat dinner later. I'm not going to do that.
I mean, you could.
Later this year, we're going to eat dinner together. I don't want that to come up. But just people on Facebook that I'm like friends with, that I'm just always just like, There's this one dude, again, I'm not going to name names. There's this one dude always posting shit. He just reads something on Facebook and like impulsively hits share. And it's always the dumbest shit. And I'm like, bro, stop believing everything you see on Facebook. If you see it on Facebook, it's probably wrong. And I'm always calling him out on it. I'm just like, I shouldn't do that. But I'm like,
I mean, it's a running gag at this point. But
it is funny to me. I do find it funny. And like, I'll share with him, like, sometimes I'll share a screenshot. One of the things he shared was like, isn't it interesting how business owners get arrested for opening business and looters don't get arrested? I showed him a screenshot. Hundreds arrested in Chicago. Hundreds arrested in like Portland. Like, just overwhelmed. I'm like, dude, try. Just Google something, man.
It's the vetting process, dude. It's just like before I share stuff, and that's the worst, is like when you haven't done your due diligence and vetted something properly and you have to admit that you're wrong.
Yeah,
like, I absolutely hate that. I hate giving that little bit up, but like
it's embarrassing, right?
You have to do it. And like I had to do it. Like I'll admit, like, sometimes I'm wrong. But
like today when I shared that thing, like, oh dude, they're taking away mailboxes in fucking Portland. I'm like, hold on, they might just be replacing them. I don't know. It's possible they're just replacing them for better ones. But still, I'm like,
mailboxes behind cages, that means ICE is involved.
Right.
Lucy liberal.
Doesn't necessarily mean, see, that's what you got to do. You just got to like think objectively about things. Use common sense, dude. That's why all this like anti-quarantine, like, oh. Did I show you what my dad said? That text that he sent me?
With the baby? About like you texting your dad about the baby, and then he's like, this quarantine stuff is...
Yeah, he's like, this is bullshit. Like, Dad, we were talking about my
unborn child
daughter. Like, hey,
your granddaughter.
It's a girl. That's awesome, bud. By the way, this quarantine is bullshit. It just pisses me off that it's a conspiracy to get rid of Trump. My dad's Alex Jones, by the way. It's a conspiracy to get rid of Trump.
Dude,
the liberal agenda.
To be honest, like your dad is Alex Jones.
He really that's where he gets his information though. He gets
worse.
Talk about vetting process. He gets from the worst place in Facebook. YouTube. He watches the lizard videos, man. The Illuminati, like
turning the frogs gay.
Like, and he's like, something's up, man. This deep state. I don't know about those lizard things. I'm not ruling it out. But there's
he's got a tail.
Thing. And to me, deep state means Democrat. So
deep state, Democrat,
DE.
Syllables, maybe.
Syllables.
I don't really know what those are, but
alliteration.
Onomatopoeia.
Definitely a palindrome if you think about it.
Right. And if it's a palindrome, send in the drones.
Jones strike. Obama. Deep state.
Alex Jones. Alex Jones is Obama.
Oh my God.
I am Obama.
Hello?
He just opens his face and Obama's actually Alex Jones, and it's just been this big duped moment, and like everyone's like, you got punked, and it turns out Ashton Kutcher has been punking the country for 15 years. And he just comes out in a trucker cap and be like, oh no, we thought you burnt that, my dude.
Dear liberals, this has been a joke. Gotcha. We got you.
I could honestly, like, I really wish that is what the case was, is that Ashton Kutcher has been punking the entire country for 15 years.
I just had a really dark thought. I don't even know if I want to share.
Go.
Okay.
Oh man, not to make light of the situation.
No, not at all.
I mean, obviously it's not Wayfair, but like, come on.
It's a whole crazy rabbit hole, and I think the whole concept. Here are my thoughts on the Wayfair thing. Mayfair.
Wayfair.
Okay.
Is it Wayfair?
I don't know.
Maypole?
Mayflower.
Yeah.
Mayflower, anyway.
Plymouth Rock, yes, I get it.
Thanksgiving. Was it? Holy shit, was it? Okay. Wayfair. Whatever they're called.
Cabinetry people.
Yeah, the cabinet children.
Right.
There's a lot of people talking about that, like, oh, this is so crazy. It's a child's name and it's selling for this amount of money. And I'm just like, it's weird. But why would they be putting that like on the surface web? Because people in the dark web have been getting away with it for years. Why would they put that on the surface web? Is this just like I mean, you could say that it's that whole corruption thing I was talking about where they're just rubbing it in our faces because that's part of it. I don't know. But that right there has always made me suspicious. And maybe I'm weird for just kind of disregarding the whole Wayfair thing, but
well, it's not real. It's just factually incorrect. It is just incorrect.
It's strange. And then someone was telling me that like the owner of Wayfair is connected to Jeff Epstein. And I'm hearing conflicting evidence about that.
I mean, without having vetted it myself, like I can't really say, but I would.
Right.
Nobody is stupid enough. Nobody is stupid enough to sell children on the top level web.
Right.
And if you are, don't sell
website.
Children. Yeah, don't sell children. Like, stop.
And
like, right now.
Right. And it was a bunch of Gen Z kids on TikTok that were like, this is weird. Everyone's like, holy shit. No, I don't think these teenagers just uncovered like an international child.
Teenagers with limited worldview have discovered it.
I know. Millennials, where were you?
They don't even have mortgages.
Too busy texting on their phone, twerking, be bisexual, charge their phones. Is that what you were doing?
No, I was cracking a conspiracy, Mom. I have a tinfoil hat now.
Kid comes running out of his room. Where are you going? I'm taking down an international child trafficking ring, Mom. Does this like?
Don't forget your Heelys. Freaking just Heelys out of the room.
I gotta like. That's another conversation I was having with someone. I don't even remember who, but it's interesting that like. I feel like millennials walked so Gen Z could run because they're militant. Like, did you hear about them? Like all these TikTok teenagers, like, what are they what's the word? They purchase seats or they rent.
Oh yeah, they like basically like bought out Trump's stuff.
Yeah, they emptied the place out basically.
Over in Tulsa.
Pissed them off so much that probably the reason he wants to ban TikTok because he's sensitive.
Well, yeah, and I mean,
that ties to China.
Oh yeah, China. But like, I mean, like, I think a lot of the things like and this is going to make me sound like a grumpy old man, right? Grumpy old man Ben here. But thinking about it, it's just like I look at the things that they're into. Like I saw a kid in checkered Vans the other day, and I'm like, oh my gosh. It's happening. I'm starting to see high school kids wearing what we wore when I was in high school.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I'm seeing emo shit because it's nostalgic. I'm like, shut up.
Stop it.
Stop it.
You can't wear that because you didn't survive 2 Bushes.
You weren't alive. You were a baby in the Bush administration. You didn't understand that. You didn't understand the Obama Bush emo phase.
Well, it's like Jess's little brother. He was born September 12th, 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Day after, like, the most mind-blowing, like, 4th grader thing that, like, you could ever see. Like, watching 2 planes hit buildings, and you're just like, the world's going to be different now, isn't it? And it has been downhill from there, you know? Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, it's not that they don't have anything to be depressed over, or like, it's not even like if they're doing it for fashion, that's cool. But it's just so surreal because the things that those things meant to me, like that genre of music, that like appearance, the like whole aesthetic of emo culture, what it meant to me completely different than what it means to these kids probably, because it's just like, you know, they're aching for this nostalgia that they didn't get. But it's like, I feel like everyone's in a perpetual state of aching for nostalgia, aching for this like age, this bygone age that was on a pedestal. Like me, I look at the 60s and I'm like, oh man, the music and like the free love and all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, it was all crappy. Everything's crap. It's garbage. It's a garbage place, Earth.
It is a garbage place. Speaking of just like hating everything, and also talking about Gen Z, something I've noticed, like, basically, like, you know, like millennials are kind of getting sort of just into this deep state of depression. Gen Z just was born into this, and they're nihilistic, man. They're just like apathetic, but they're just like, I gotta hand it to them. They're just like militant and like hardcore. Like just seeing some of the stuff they like do and shit.
But it's scary too, because this whole cancel culture thing is like the whole, like, let's say, not that I agree with her, but J.K. Rowling, like the fact that she had a differing opinion than a lot of like people on transgender rights, you know, and that they should be able to participate in sports and all of this stuff. And, you know, J.K. Rowling is a huge feminist, like massive feminist. Like she's got big feminist energy right now. Yeah. But like her differing opinion, people started trying to cancel J.K. Rowling. And I'm like, one, that's a giant hill. You're not going to do it, kid. But also, why? She's got a differing opinion. It's perfectly fine to have a differing opinion. Like, you know, if she can back it up with logic and she can, you know, push things, that's the fundamental crux of democracy, is like, you know, having a differing opinion and being able to come to the center and meld minds and work it out.
Yeah.
But it's, oh man, Gen Z scares me sometimes because they're just willing to burn it all down.
They are, and it's interesting to me because, like, it was yesterday I saw on Twitter, cancel Dan Harmon, cancel Rick and Morty. And I'm like, uh-oh, like, what's going on? I looked at it. Yeah, cancel Dan Harmon, cancel Rick and Morty. Dan Harmon is the guy who co-created.
Well, yeah, but like, what did he do?
Well, he did something 10 years ago, and I wanted to say
somebody got into the tweets again.
See, that's the thing. What I was going to say
Always
about
tweets.
that, like, I wanted to tweet about it. I'm like, it was a video that Dan Harmon made. It was like a TV show pilot he was pitching that was too fucked up to get picked up. 5 or 6 years ago, Dan Harmon was trending on Twitter. He deleted his social media for the first time, has deleted it another time since then, and is now back on social media. But I wanted to say to, you know, the Gen Z people, like, you know, going off about that, I'm like, Gen Z, love the energy, appreciate the, you know, the passion, but we canceled that dude so long ago. He's no longer canceled. He came back again, twice, apologized. He's actually okay now. Like, and that made me realize, like, not everyone gets canceled forever, and that's good. Like, they learn, you know, but
it's just
I'm on the fence. Like, you know, cancel culture. I think there's like
a lot. It has a place. It has a place. I'm not going to deny that it has a place, but it's just like it's just like you know, the fluidity of how they do it, how they cancel people. Like, let's go into the YouTube industry. Trisha Paytas. How in the world? How has Trisha not ever been canceled? How does
the thing is with like cancel culture, I think it's great that people, you know, are standing up for like what's right, deplatforming the bad people. My issue with it is I think people enjoy it too much. I think they jump at the chance to cancel someone. I think people saying Lady Gaga is over party because she did something and said something that offended you because she doesn't like the same music as you. Taylor Swift, same thing. I'm like, you need to chill. And another thing I've seen is like all these people just like digging super deep into people's social media looking for stuff. It's like, we live in a weird time where our words are kind of immortalized on the internet, and it is a lesson. It's certainly a good lesson to learn that we need to watch what we say. And I think that's a good takeaway. And we live during the transitional period of that. So even millennials, we're learning it too. Um, I've consciously thought about the things I tweeted, and I'm just like, uh-oh.
Dude,
I have 8,000 tweets. I don't want to go through that. I hope they don't. I'm sure there's nothing too bad in there. But
said James Gunn.
oh my god. Okay, love the guy, but what the fuck?
James Gunn. But
okay,
dude,
Jane, are you good, dude? Like, I love you, man. I love your movies. I think you're a great person. You showed a lot of growth. You're a good guy. But what the fuck was that?
Come on,
what was
guy.
that shit?
Come on, guy. Oh.
See, that's the thing. That's an important thing, man. Like, people grow, people learn. He was trying to be a shock comedian, trying to like gross people out and stuff. And people got to realize that was popular 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It was like the thing to do was be shocking and crazy, and like Howard really popularized that, and that shit was just super big, and now people are like, okay, well, we should be more sensitive. That's great. We should be more sensitive. So
yeah,
you know,
just stop it. My biggest thing, like the biggest thing that I want kids to take away is just like, man, yeah, you guys can fight it. Kids can fight and try and change and all that stuff. But man, once you get past 20 and you actually start getting huge responsibilities, it's really hard to fight it. It's really hard to fight that system because you have to become part of it or you're booted out of it.
Yeah.
And like that's not me being like, don't fight for it, don't do what you want to do, don't be who you want to be. I'm just saying, like, I'm doing it, I'm fighting it, but from somebody that's in the middle of it and fighting it, dude, you lose a lot. You lose a lot. I mean, are you willing to lose a lot? Yeah. That's the big question you need to ask yourself. If your parents are messed up and into like conspiracy theories that are super hurtful to your potential kids, are you gonna keep them around or are you willing to cut them off? It's all about what you want. What do you want? If you want the world to be a better place, yeah, get rid of them, cut them out.
Yeah, that's true. It's we live in such a very interesting time because like it really is. It's not a transitional period. It is a wall that we are jumping over. You can either jump over it or you can run face first into it and you're not moving forward. Like,
right.
We're forcing change, and it's a good thing. And I think it's, and I think a lot of that is behind this animosity between, baby boomers. They've had it so well for so long. I don't want to discredit the personal struggles they've had. Oh, yeah. That's not even the point, And I think people miss that point. Yeah. But they also like to minimize like how hard we work. And we're lazy because we don't have jobs and we don't have houses. But I'm like, bro, try buying a house, dude. Yeah. You've been living in that house a long time, man. Try moving out and getting a new one, dude.
Like, please?
Yeah.
No, like, and I think about it, it's like, just like what I was saying before, it's like, I can't relate to the generation below me because I'm not that generation. And it's like, it's really hard to relate. And it's like, I'm assuming that gets exacerbated as the generations get more divided. Because thinking about my grandparents, they grew up in the Great Depression. Ain't no way that they're going to understand what TikTok was or is, or like, what's the TikTok? Isn't that what the clock does?
TikTok.
Yes.
I know that one.
TikTok on the clock. Grandpa, please go back to the grave, my dude. But like, no, it's just like, you just don't understand. And trying to get people to understand is hard because like once your brain's set in stone, it's like, it's really, really hard to change someone's mind.
Especially because like, most boomers are staunch Republicans and they come from a time where they were the GOP, the the great old party and Democrats were the corrupt ones, and they love to say that. And the parties have completely shifted, like completely. But because of, this sudden change, they refuse to change.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. It's a lot at once, and it's just kind of like now they blame this new generation that they raised in this world they created. They're just like, well, you're the problem. It's like, okay, if that's true, is that really the argument you want to make? You made us.
y'all told us racism was gone.
Yeah, we learned that racism was gone, and then suddenly we're like, the internet happened, and we're like, okay, wow.
So y'all didn't tell the truth. It's just like, and they justify that stuff with like the craziest, like this QAnon. Like QAnon itself is just this. I mean, I read it, and I get sent QAnon stuff all the time, and I don't if it's what floats your boat, it's what floats your boat. But also, I don't think that everybody that is a powerful Democrat, or everyone that is a billionaire, or everyone that is up in power, or has any sort of semblance of power, was sacrificing babies to get like the essence of baby fear and to ingest the baby fear for like getting high. And you're just like,
wait, that's a real thing?
That's a real thing. I'm not pulling that out.
Bro, that's Monsters, Inc.
Right?
That's the plot.
Right.
But you've seen the Bohemian Grove videos, right?
Oh yeah, the ones in like New York.
It's in upstate California. Bohemian Grove. They have like this. It's where all these billionaires and senators.
Is it that owl statue?
Yeah, they burn and a fake woman, and they play these screaming sounds while they fake this sacrificial ceremony, wear cloaks, and it's like confirmed that like Nixon, the Clintons, all these people were there, and Alex Jones of all people caught it on camera. The best thing he's ever done. He snuck in. He caught all this shit on camera when earlier on in his journalism days, and it's actually terrifying. And on our first podcast, we asked the question: did George Bush have to jack off in front of his dad to join their holy fraternity, the Skulls and Bones? And I think yes. And I think there's a lot of that going on in the higher ups, but I don't know about baby fears. I've heard cannibalism stuff. I don't know if that's true.
Well, it's like, so taking baby fear and ingesting it somehow, and I don't get the full thing. I haven't done a deep dive on the QAnon train, but from what I've gleaned, baby fear equals big high. From what they say, baby fear equals big high, and Zuck is in on it.
That makes sense.
He is a cyborg, but
I was finding a way to make that joke. You beat me to it. But have you seen the movie Society?
No.
It is the grossest movie I've ever seen in my life. It's called Society, and it is the most on-the-nose metaphor for how it's called society. It's about the higher ups, the rich elite, and how they feed on the poor, literally. And it's a lot like the sucking the fear out of the baby, but instead of that, it is an orgy, a cannibalistic orgy. But they're not like using their mouths to eat people. They are. I almost want to screen share this clip. I want to screen share this clip. It's weird, man. Society shunting scene. That's what it's called. The shunting.
No. Very a la Shrimp.
Maybe it's just orgy scene.
I mean, Is YouTube gonna have it?
Yeah, that's where I saw it.
Oh,
I actually. Oh, you know what? I know where to find it. I shared it on the Bachelor page. Bachelor party page, I mean. There it is. Bachelor party with the boys, please work this time.
you gotta share your.
Where is it? There it is. Okay. This is a lot of effort to just do one little.
Does Zoom like smooth out your face? Because my face is looking really clear.
Maybe, because I thought I was very greasy, so that might be true. What is this? Okay, how do I saw it earlier.
So you go down to the bottom of the page, and there's a little green box that says share screen.
Oh. Safari unknown.
I actually feel like we've hit some pretty good topics, and it's been pretty easy.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Okay.
Is it on the right screen? Is it behind?
Wait a second. Hold on. Maybe it'll work. Maybe?
Yep.
It worked?
Yep.
Can you see this?
Yep.
Jimmy.
Hold on, I gotta go pee.
Goodbye, David.
Are you? Don't worry. I'll get your share. I'll get your share. What's going on? Didn't you know, Billy Boy? The rich have always sucked off low-class shit like you.
Hey, what are you doing in there? This is a private party. It's a private property. Members only. We're invited. Oh, you're invited. Who's that? This is my Hair, Mrs. Fowling.
Wait a minute.
What the heck?
Sorry, this is the grossest thing I've ever seen.
Liable, Your Honor.
The grain. Just the pure grain.
This is nasty, right?
No. Oh, a guilty mark.
Hold on. I'll be right back.
And now we'll get to fish.
Billy.
No.
Oh, we don't have to watch the whole thing. Oh, it's gonna be this part.
Well, son, I guess you're right. I am a butthead.
Oh my gosh.
Bill.
We can be done.
I just feel unclean.
I know, right?
Like, I mean, and I've seen some of that stuff. So.
It's such a dumb movie, but like after I saw that, I was like, not that it was scary, but I couldn't sleep. I'm like, that upset me. I don't know why.
I feel legitimately disturbed.
I totally forgot why I even showed you that. I don't remember what we were talking about.
We were talking about like the
Oh.
Bohemian
Yeah.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
Exactly.
Basically, you know, higher ups, elites. Yeah. I feel like people who make exceptions for other people, you know, that's not really, you know, just because the guy's on their team, make exceptions for. Nah, he didn't do it.
I mean,
Like,
like, I mean, if we're wanting to get into the nitty gritty of it, politics and being a human in general is kind of a dirty game that you have to play. Like just existing, it's just kind of like, you know, you do shady stuff all the time. It just is what it is.
Yeah,
but
going back to QAnon though, they actually the Epstein flight logs. People keep sharing this. They released the flight logs, the real flight logs. And it's like a scan document with all this pen and ink and all this shit just listed and stuff. And it's like Donald Trump is there, Clinton is there, all these people are there. Right? Most of these names I don't personally recognize, but Trump, Clinton, I recognize them. QAnon the same day released their own document that included only Democrats, and it was seriously just a blank page with a list of names. And everyone's like, oh, I can't believe Tom Hanks would do that. I can't believe Chrissy Teigen would be on the plane. I was like, you guys are so gullible. It is a piece of paper with names typed onto it versus actual flight logs. That's not what they look like. It's like people are so gullible and they want to believe what they want to believe.
Like Epstein's flight logs are actually a shopping list.
It's in a notes document.
As Western mayonnaise was on there? He was on the plane.
Okay, well, I'm definitely not eating Kraft mac and cheese anymore because it's very clear that's the official brand.
Goodness. Dr. Pepper.
Pepper.
whoever the Sierra Mist is, she's dirty.
Sierra cancel Sierra Mist.
Hashtag cancel Sierra Mist.
Everyone thinks it's like a person because it just sounds like a name. All these like Trump supporters. I never liked her music anyway.
Isn't she the one that wrote that song 1,000 Miles or whatever it is? Oh man, dude, like at the end of the day, I think that we're doing the good thing by podcasting it up on this stuff.
Yeah, it feels better to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, it's an outlet.
Yeah.
I mean, Jess watched the other day yours and Patrick's podcast.
Did you see it?
Yeah, like I was actually actively trying to fall asleep, and Jess, I could hear it, and I was like, "Is that Casey?" Because Jess didn't tell me she was watching your podcast. I was like, "Man, that guy sounds exactly like Casey."
Yeah. Also, cut this part out of the podcast.
She's like, "Wait, Casey broke into somebody's house?" She like was full on thinking that like for real you had broken into somebody's house.
You know what? If a sizable amount of people believe that, that makes me feel like Andy Kaufman, and
Very
okay with that.
Very Kaufman-esque. I mean,
Yeah,
just like
Kaufman-esque. I love it.
dude, like I'm cool doing this every weekend, and I mean like, what else do I have to do?
Right.
It's an hour of chat.
Yeah. How long have we been talking this time?
This is like almost 2 hours.
Almost 2 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not bad.
Where are we at in our recording?
So we started at 6 o'clock, almost on the dot. It's 7:46 right now, or my time anyway.
Yeah.
So it's 8:46 your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby, you work late.
I know, right? I'm always working.
Wait, have you been working this whole time on the podcast too?
I mean, I'm running a Python script right now, so I'm just like coding and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I could multitask.
But yeah, the whole premise of that is we want it to be very David Lynch, very just fucking weird as hell, and just if people laugh, they laugh.
See, my brand of humor is more of I make up a story and make up a scenario in my head, and I just play it out.
Yeah, that's that. I'm the same way, which is why I can't do stand-up.
It's hard.
I've written jokes down, and just in general, I'm not good at ending things. Like when I write a script, when I write a story, I can create good endings, great plot twists. I get to the end, or good beginnings, great plot twists. I get to the end, I'm just like,
how do I end it? What do we
I'm like, okay, just
everyone dies. It's just like the volume goes down.
But the same thing with jokes. I cannot like finish a joke. I'm like, that's a funny story. I'm gonna like talk about this. And like I just build it up, and I'm just like, the whole point of the joke is to end it. I don't know how to do that.
What's the punchline?
It's like
the punchline is the joke.
Like I can't just go up there and tell a story of something that didn't happen. I can't just go up there and give them hypotheticals. You know?
Yeah, this one time I burnt down my house.
Yeah.
Just like, and it's just like a 45-minute like expose on like this fictional scenario in your life, and you're just like, oh crap, how do I end it? And then you just kill yourself on stage.
I just ominously, I don't know how it ends yet.
Just fade to black.
Fucking deserve.
Fade to black. Hecklers are like losing their minds. Like it's Planet of the Apes. People are ripping their shirts off, crying, weeping. Everyone's like 10 out of 10 worst stars ever.
What happened? What was this?
I wasted 3 years of my life listening to this story.
It got good for a while, and then it got dark, and then there was nothing else.
It was just a lot of static noise and him going da 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 da
A
da.
lot of elevator music, and honestly, I walked away with less of me intact than I went in.
Yeah, you're just
So
like
this show took something from me. It had to fill the negative space with something of me, and it stole something.
I equate it to be the transfer of matter, and I am not matter now. I am
like
anti-human.
anti-human. It's like that little box in Ghostbusters that traps ghosts, and I'm the ghost.
And it's hell.
And it's the box is this joke.
We're stuck in this joke.
And it's pretty meta because we've been telling this terrible joke for a good 2 minutes now.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, like I've never done stand-up, but like I really feel like I could dig into like my family's like history and just the most crass Cserepes things that have ever happened, and people just be like, "That didn't happen." No, it really did. This is true. These is facts.
Yeah, people are just like, come on, don't make shit up.
And you're just like, no.
Be real. Be real. Good point.
But for real though.
I got as far as putting a whole 10 minutes together and just saying it out loud to myself and being like, oh, no, this is terrible. This is not good. This isn't my format.
This is not my medium.
I'm thinking like maybe like I'm thinking I might do something that's just like you put together a slideshow, you know, a funny slideshow, and just present it to people.
And you're just sitting there and it's just like, and this is me on vacation. And it's just like hell. Just like forest burning down. And that's where I met my wife. It's a bathroom at a Kmart.
It'd be interesting if it's just like a fun, happy story, but the images are super dark. Like, this is the bathroom. It's just a dungeon. It's just like all like there's dead bodies in there or something. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I can't just do something normal. I have to like take it to weird. I think you and I are both the same. We have to take it to weird places.
It has to go weird.
It has to go weird. It's like
the surreal humor of it.
It's surreal, right?
This just the surrealness of it is what is funny.
That's what I find funny. It's weird.
Because it's just like off and it's like it's close to your reality. Like Tim and Eric's, it's just like close to your reality, but it's just a little bit offset. So it's this juxtaposition your brain is trying to correct it, but you're also like, this is making me feel uncomfortable. And so your brain is just like, I have nothing else to do but laugh.
Yeah.
Because it's my only reaction.
But here's the thing. I personally feel like I've gone so, it's like a rabbit hole. I'm like, you know, when I discovered like Tim and Eric and stuff like that back in, you know, Adult Swim. When I first started watching Adult Swim, I'm like, okay, this is different. I really like this. Tim and Eric, I'm like, this is my show. Like, I've been waiting for this kind of show. It checks all the boxes. And it just got weirder and weirder and darker and darker. And like, it sent me on a trajectory. I think it sent everyone on a trajectory. I'm so far down the anti-humor joke. It's not even funny anymore. I do it just to survive. I do it to make myself laugh, knowing other people aren't laughing. And the fact that other people don't laugh somehow makes it funnier to me.
It is funny because you don't find it funny.
Right.
It's like everyone with The Office. I cannot get into The Office at all. Period. Makes me uncomfortable because it's too real. Mm-hmm. For me, it's like too real. I cannot handle that.
I think you remember, I disappeared for 2 weeks while I watched the entire The Office. I got a Hulu account just for that. Mm-hmm. I binged the whole thing. Haven't been able to watch a single episode since then.
It's trash.
I think it took something out of me. Like, now that we're talking about it, I spent so much time watching that show. I think it actually took something from me. And I think about that. I'm like, I tried watching that show again, and none of it was funny. Like, as of like right now, nothing I watch from that show like makes me laugh. I appreciate that show, and I appreciate a lot of its, you know, I think influence.
Yeah.
Parks and Rec. That's a great show.
It's a direct offshoot of it. And the first season of Parks and Rec is like almost a carbon copy of The Office. And then they said, this isn't working. Mm-hmm. It needs to be its own show. Mm-hmm. And then it got good. Yeah. Because the first season is unbearable.
I still haven't seen it. I still haven't seen the first season.
Dude, it's like watching all of How I Met Your Mother.
Ugh.
Or Big Bang Theory. It is that unbearable. It is that unbearable. And I don't get it. I just cannot get behind The Office and the first season of Parks and Rec. It is not funny. It is just your monotonous life and the hot guy at the office and the hot girl at the office who you're rooting for. That's it.
Yeah.
That is the premise. Michael Scott is a terrible person. He is insensitive and no one wants to cancel him. Come on, cancel culture.
One of my bosses, my first office job, this guy, he was my boss. He loved The Office and he acted like Michael Scott. I'm just like, drove me nuts.
But yeah, man, same time next week.
Same time next week. How are we gonna? Since we're gonna cut most of that out,
Yeah.
how are we gonna end this podcast?
I think we should end it on a note of well wishes, and I think the biggest thing that we need to do as we're going throughout our next week is just don't let politics get you down. It's all about like pushing through it together. If you don't like your neighbor's opinion, it's just an opinion. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Try to find some common ground and hug it out, guys.
Hug it out.
Yeah.
Hug it out.
So,
It's fine. Just hug it out. It'll be
Yeah.
okay.
I think that's good.